I want to talk about the title for Avengers 4.
Yes.
Avengers 4 is, I love how we were like, yeah, Infinity War is the most anticipated thing ever. And then we saw it and we're like, well, now what happens?
Where's the rest of it?
Yeah, so Avengers 4, we don't even know what it's called. We're calling it Avengers 4. And everyone's speculating about the title of this movie. And it's really funny. I'm having a really good time just guessing. Because the second we know, then we know. And that's it. And then we start calling it that. It becomes a household name.
Well, so
I love the...
Do you know why this rules? Because this is what we do with Star Wars our entire lives.
That's true. Yeah. What's the next one?
And so we never get to do this. Name? I don't really care what Spider-Man 2 is called or Black Panther 2. They're probably just being called Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, probably not. They kind of take the numbers out. So
Iron Man 2,
called,
Iron Man 3, they're just numbers in there, right?
They cut that though. Now then they do Thor Ragnarok and then, Spider-Man Homecoming. And, the numbers apparently scare people off, but apparently like random words like school dance names don't. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny because Star Wars is always like, Star Wars, Return of the Scary Word.
Yeah, you're like, what the hell is that?
But, the Curse of the Creature's Revenge.
Yeah, what's funny with Marvel movies is they're always borrowing names of like comic book events, and then they don't actually really pull from them. Like Civil War was loosely based on Civil War. Spider-Man Homecoming had nothing to do with the Straczynski run Coming Home. There's what is it? X-Men First Class had like nothing to do with the First Class comic. There's like a ton of stuff where they'll just use the name, and that's about it. And then you can speculate all you want, and you go out to the comic store and you buy this thing that's been out for 20 years, and then you read it and you go see the movie and you're like, the hell was that? It had nothing to do with it. So people, of course, are speculating what is Avengers 4 going to be called? The way it works, Infinity War was the second part, Infinity Gauntlet was the first one, and Infinity War came second.
Yes.
So a lot of people think that Infinity Gauntlet is the title for Avengers 4, and the Russo brothers, Joe and Anthony, have said, no, it is not. It is not the name of it. That's not what it's called. Sorry. I think that would honestly, as far as regular moviegoers go, calling something Infinity War and then Infinity Gauntlet would just be too much Infinity, ironically.
Yeah,
and that would be confusing for people to tell them apart.
And the Russo brothers straight up said, we are not adapting the comics.
They said, here's what they said. We've got a quote from Russo brother Joe. He says, I don't think there are any comics that correlate to it. I think we're in pretty fresh territory with Avengers 4. If anything, I think it's interesting after to go back and look at some of the Marvel films and view them through a different lens, but I can't think of any comics in particular that would have value, which is messed up because there are all sorts of comics have lots of value. They have really very valuable. You can get them graded at the Comic-Con and they tell you how much they're worth.
Hell yeah, I carry Wizard magazine in my front pouch
everywhere I go. Get your comic book price guide. How dare you, Russo brother Joe? But that being said, here's some titles that people are kicking around. First of all, Infinity Gauntlet? Nope, that's not it. They've straight up said that is not the title of Avengers 4. Not calling it that.
It might have your version with the 3 question marks.
Yeah, in the wrong font. I think that's a safe bet. Infinity Gauntlet? Another one that's being kicked around a lot is Disassembled. Avengers Disassembled was a very popular comic run where the Avengers basically got kind of kicked all over the place.
I don't think they're going to do this because you can't title a movie that has the words dis-ass in it.
Dis-ass.
Also, a lot of people screw up the spelling of that because they're dumb, and they're me.
Yeah, that's true. I might have even spelled it there. There's no spell check in Photoshop.
I think it's D-I-S-S. ISS, ASSS, ASS, ISSA, and BLD.
Anyway, the point is, Avengers probably not going to be called Disassembled. It just, I don't know. It's just maybe later on down the road. But that seems like they're probably not pulling from that. Another one. This is interesting. A lot of people are speculating Avengers Endgame. Which would be interesting because it would suggest that there's an end to the Avengers. This is the finale, but of course Avengers is probably going to keep going with like a different bunch of animal people in it. This is the name of a comic run, I guess. Also, they've said specifically that the name of Avengers 4 is not uttered in Infinity War, which is curious because then you're like, I don't think anyone has like a transcript of that entire movie and they're going through like line by line being like, nope, they said this here. But I specifically remember them saying, like, I think Doctor Strange is like, we're in the end game now. So like that kind of rules out Endgame. But then again, we could be wrong, or the Russo brothers could have forgotten that they said that in the movie. Another one that people are kicking around a lot is Avengers Forever. Of course, everyone's been shouting Wakanda Forever. They shout that in Infinity War. And then of course there's the corniness of it could be like the number 4 ever.
It also, I think it does a good job of sort of passing the torch on to whatever the next wave of Avengers movies could be.
Yeah, and it's also, you think of like, oh, like infinity, forever, there's kind of like a relation there. But Russo brother Joe, who's the funny one, he says the actual title is The Avengers Almost Forever. He's joking there, that's not the actual title. But that does seem to be kind of close to home to the point where if they were going to call it Avengers Forever, That would be really. He wouldn't say anything. He wouldn't joke about it being almost forever because it's not.
Team Sora in our YouTube chat said possibly Avengers Assemble. We said Disassemble.
So that's where it gets interesting. Avengers Assemble is what the first Avengers was released as in the UK, I believe. I might be wrong about that. There's some territory where Avengers Assemble was like the title of it, which it's kind of an odd choice. They could always go ahead and be like Avengers Assemble. That's like that's a good kind of, you know, standby, but it does also feel like something you could have called the first one. Here's an interesting quote from Anthony, who's the serious one of the Russo brothers. He says, "It's certainly grounded in the narrative that we've been following throughout the MCU. Very well grounded." I don't know what that means exactly. If they're like ground Avengers, the ground forces, or like I don't know what that would mean. But I had an idea. What about Avengers? Earth's mightiest heroes.
It's long, but I like it.
That is the original tagline of the team. You know, if they're really celebrating this kind of victory lap of this big, huge, you know, decade-long project, it's grounded. It reminds you that these guys are they're fighting for Earth. You know, and of course the Guardians of the Galaxy are there too. But like, I don't know. This seems like it could be it. But really, end of the day, we have no idea what Avengers 4 is called.
Hey,
so
what if we got this all wrong and the words come before the title?
Look out, it's the Avengers.
Yeah, or like say goodbye to the Avengers.
What's up, Avengers?
Either way, this week, I wanted to throw this in there real quick. We found out that Adam Warlock is definitely not showing up in this movie. I don't like knowing that things aren't going to have things before I have them. You know, I mean, but it also kind of sets up expectations. I wanted to read this quote real quick. This is from Joe Russo. He says, "Yeah, Adam Warlock's not showing up in our stories. Look, our job, as we said a million times, is to tell the story of the MCU, not to do direct adaptations of the comics because we're comic book fans. I have no interest as a director in telling a story that's already been told or in seeing one that's already been told. If I know all the events of the story as they're going to happen, then what's the point of doing the film? We want to keep surprising audiences and continue the story that started with Iron Man a decade ago." So no Adam Warlock.
Yeah,
kind of sucks.
They'll show up at some point. Like they'll definitely get to him. But like, I don't know. They shuffle things around and they change stuff and they save some stuff for later. So.
My problem with these characters that are showing up later is like, this is the time to be there, dude. Like everyone needs your help. Like also, especially all the street level. While we're here, real quick, all those street level bums in the MCU that watched all this stuff go down in Avengers: Infinity War and didn't show up to help. Daredevil, what's wrong, man? Iron Fist. Where you at? You filming season 2?
They've got
Luke
like
Cage?
They got like a teenager, you know. They got Spider-Man jumping around there.
Agent Coulson, you guys busy? What happened?
I think that was the biggest tell. That like
somebody steal something from the mall, you had to go take care of it.
This is a different universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a bummer. It would have been cool to see those guys up there, but oh well.
Well, that's our video about what the next Avengers movie probably won't be titled, but in the meantime, you can buy 9 different Infinity Gauntlets, wear them on your hand, and do magic. Like that. You can make him appear and then disappear with just the snap of a finger. After that, Thanos will die eventually. Who will they fight next? We wonder. I hope it's Doctor Doom. Let's theorize in this next video, which you can click on by watching this immediately right now. Up at Noon is a show you can watch every Thursday at noon Pacific time on IGN, YouTube.com, Twitch, and Runkle, the side of your dad's big dunkus.